Well, first, let me say how special it is for me to be here. And as I sat before the service here in this beautiful sanctuary, I just felt so good to see how you have managed to just keep Unity of Tallahassee alive. And it feels good. It really feels good. So, hats off to you all, really. So, my talk to this morning comes from Matthew, the 5th chapter, the 37th verse. And it's a little bitty verse that's in Matthew's 5th chapter. And it says, let what you say be simply yes or no. So I'm going to start by telling you a little story about this area in a said city. You're going to be listening in to the city council talk about about an area in their city. So one person starts out by saying, let's clear away the whole mess. The city council had had enough of the crime and the filth. So in an attempt to reclaim the downtown area, a large northern eastern city decided to tear down the ugly, dangerous slums and demolish all of the abandoned buildings, burned out homes, and tenants. Several blocks away were cleared. And after years of looking like a war zone, it was an amazingly improvement. But something very unexpected happened. The shacks, the trash started slowly creeping back. And the cleared areas were on their way to becoming seedy and undesirable as before. So what on earth has happened? What has gone wrong? So the bewildered city council couldn't figure it out. And finally, it dawned on them. It's not enough to remove offensive structures. You have to replace them with something better. This time, they wouldn't get it wrong. So after clearing away the slums, they leased out the land for the construction of theater complexes, shopping malls, upscale apartments, houses. After that, the slums didn't return. This born-again city is a great lesson. If we expect to reclaim our consciousness, we have to get rid of our old, ugly, and dangerous beliefs. But once we clear them out of our minds, we have to quickly follow up with building a God consciousness. Or else the old thinking will creep back and we'll have to root it out again and again and again. Releasing is the tearing down process. Affirmation is the building up process. We need them both. We need to pull weeds and plant flowers. When you pull weeds, you have to plant a flower to take its place, or else you'll get more weeds. Releasing and affirming will help you keep your garden beautiful. This idea of release is marvelous, and that we along with other forms of life on this planet, have been given the power of elimination. Without elimination, we would have no way to rid our bodies of toxic wastes, those life-denying poisons which accumulate daily as a result of normal living, but through our intestines, kidney, skin, and lungs, we are able to release this metabolic waste. By denying this life-depleting poisons are placed in our bodies, by denying now, these depleting poisons are placed in our bodies, we strengthen those life-sustaining forces which keep us whole and hearty. Kind of like Amanda's meditation. Letting go of those things that you feel that are not who you are, but accepting the positive piece of what you are. We can release any belief not consistent with what you are. A thought or a feeling or an action, yours or somebody else's, does not validate the divinity in you and all that applies. Then what you need to do is to get busy and deny its space in your life. Refuse to accept it. So we realize that Myrtle was told that she had an illness, that she was born with an illness, but she got really busy by denying that it had any space in her life. I am a child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. On a personal note, I can remember when I had an ectopic pregnancy. And ladies, it's a very intense pain. You could even lose your life with an ectopic pregnancy. But anyway, I went through surgery, and I will never forget. It was pretty much after I found unity. And the doctor came in to visit, and he was just so amazed at my healing. And one of the things that I learned from unity was that I'm a child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. I meditated on a perfect and healthy and whole body. So it is important to note, however, that when you use a statement of release, you're not denying the appearance of the situation. You are merely denying the ultimate power over you. There's a saying, what you think of me is none of my business. Release. Don't accept what others want to say, who you are and what you are. Deny that. We need to deny the appearance. This could help us about talking about denying the appearance. We walk, and there's another little statement we used to say in unity, wow, you fake it till you make it. So you deny those appearances, and you don't accept them. I had a little brief conversation with Catherine right before the church service, and she said, it's amazing how we don't ever get old. We were talking about the children, and I said, these are my kids. I asked about Peter, and I said, she said, well, Peter's middle-aged now. I said, yes, I do, but he's one of my kids, and I always remember the kids when I was here as youth ed director. And she said, we don't ever get old, do we? I said, that's right. We get to an age where we stay young. We get to that point. I love it when Jack Benny used to say 39 and holding. I think it was 39 and holding, right? So, yeah. So I am denying old age, and I affirm what? Youthfulness. So you can fake it till you make it. So let me explain you a little bit further of what I'm saying. So let us say there's a man who claims, he's a chain smoker, but he wants to quit. He would not attempt to release his habit by saying, I don't smoke, because he cannot deny his excessive use of tobacco. It is an obvious fact. He probably can't even deny his craving for cigarettes. He couldn't honestly say, I don't crave tobacco, because that would not be true. He does crave it many times a day. That's why he's still smoking. What he can deny is the thought that he is a slave to tobacco. He can deny his being completely controlled by it. A good statement for release for him might be, I don't need cigarettes. By doing that much, he has taken a big step forward towards releasing the addiction. Now notice, he hasn't denied the fact that he smokes or that he often craves it, but he has denied the necessity of smoking. He has opened his mind to accepting the fact that smoking is not a part of his life unless he allows it to be. As this awareness expands, he soon sees that he has been given power over all things, not only cigarettes. And that's nothing can control him unless he let it. Tobacco then starts losing its importance in his life. He finds that he doesn't need it, so he eventually won't use it at all. So that was one example. Let me give you another example. And this example is an x-ray. And an x-ray may clearly show a medical problem. You can't deny that there's a shadow on that x-ray. What you do is release it by denying it belongs in your body. You can deny that it has power to affect the wholeness that God wants you to be. Do you see the difference? Although it's always the thoughts and feelings behind the release statement which change consciousness, the actual words themselves can be great motivators. You see it, but it's not in your body. So, another example for you: a woman who constantly overeats may try to convince her intellect that she doesn't like chocolate. But that's ridiculous. Of course she likes chocolate. We all like chocolate. And she knows that. She would have a difficult time convincing herself otherwise. But it would be more effective for her to say, I don't have to have chocolate, or chocolate is not in charge. Her intellect can agree with those words, and so she will more easily accept them into her consciousness. It's the statement, it's the affirmation, the words, the power of the spoken word. Here's another one. How about a man with a poor self-image? When thoughts of unworthiness gang up on him, he could say, I'm not like that. Or I refuse to think of myself that way. Releasing is the highest form of judgment. When we talk about judging in unity, we talk about right judgment, judging rightfully. It's a declaration that something is keeping you from expressing your best self, or so it has to go. Remember, you don't deny something out of existence. You deny your inaccurate belief about it. It's your belief which sets the cause into motion to bring you the results. That is the law of cause and effect. Thoughts held in mind produce after their own kind. That's why no true release is ever concerned with things or conditions. It works on your incorrect thoughts and feelings, which cause all of those unwanted conditions. Now, we pull some weeds. But now, we need to plant some flowers. We do that with affirmations. It's not just enough to pull the weeds in your garden. You have, again, to plant those flowers so weeds have nowhere to grow. Releasing removes negative states of mind, but any release has to be followed by an affirmation. So those of us who've been in unity, in truth for a long time, we talk about denials and affirmations, but I'm using denials as release. Affirmations to build up that cleared area of mind. Only that those ideas which tell the truth about you. And what's the truth? That you are a child of God. You are a child of the Creator of this universe. Therefore, you have access to total good. Affirmation can take an idea about you from the divine mind, God, and root it deeply into your mind. Affirmation is a term which states the truth about a situation based on the omnipresence of God. Wherever I am, God is. Its primary purpose is to build consciousness of the presence of God in every situation. Affirmation is spoken to convince the intellect and the emotions that God is the only presence, only power in the universe and in your life. And yes, in any present difficulty. As with the statement of release, affirmations should be repeated, either silently or loud as often as possible. And the word yes is a wonderful affirmation. I'm just going to give you a little idea of how to observe people using the word yes in their lives, and especially how men use the word yes in their lives. So, and some women may do the same thing. I don't want to be sexist here, okay? So, let's say human beings. Okay. So when someone is watching a basketball game and the guy gets a perfect shot, he gets nothing but net, guys and women will say, yes! And they do the same thing. When they're running down the field with the football, or if they get a goal or a touchdown, they'll yell, yes! So when you do that, there's something that happens in your body. You can feel it. Even though I'm standing here and I'm saying it to you, I can feel something. So what I want you to do is to think right now a positive thought. Think about yourself or what you would like to see or what you'd like to be in life. Now, it would be helpful if you would put the positive thought that you're having in a sentence and begin the sentence with the word I. Do you have your sentence? You got your thought? Okay, now once you affirm the sentence to yourself quietly, follow the positive thought with an empathetic yes. Let me hear it out loud. Think your thought, and then let me hear you say yes. So again, when you have a positive thought, follow it with a yes. It makes you feel good. So when we want to affirm the good, just do that little exercise. Again, the word yes is a wonderful affirmation. It's simple. It's direct, focused, and it is powerful. So your body is extremely receptive to repeating what's in your mind. Any message that you repeat goes through your brain, your cortex, and your frontal lobes of your limbic system, which have to do with your emotions. Hidden deep within these areas is the master regulator of your nervous system and the supervisor of many body functions, such as blood pressure, pulse rate, hormone production, and other body temperatures and features. But when you repeat affirmations, you are actually programming your body to do those things which you are affirming. And psychologists refer to this as cognitive restructuring, actually redesigning the thinking circuits. And you need this for positive affirmations that are clear. So just imagine what happens when you're constantly telling yourself the best is yet to be. Or I eat only helpful foods. Or God brings my good to me. Or I am prosperous. Or I am loved. Or God is healing me now. There will be times when you will be hard-pressed to find something to affirm in a situation. At times like these, you have to intellectually design a statement which reflects the real truth of the situation as your spirit knows it. I can remember as a child, my neighbor, my girlfriend's father passed. And I've always thought that when you lose someone, that it's supposed to be really sad and a lot of crying. And that's not what happened in her house. I was so amazed. Now, this was before I found unity, because I always thought about hellfire and damnation and all that stuff when you die and what's going to happen. And I mean, it was just really, so I was like really upset for the loss. But they threw the biggest party. I like, they're having a party? Mr. Rufus just died, you know. But they were far along spiritually advanced than I, because they truly did have a celebration. That affirmation, when I say sometimes you'll be in a situation when you think where you can't think of anything that's going to be good to say or positive to say. But if we condition ourselves to think positively, that in every situation there is something good, absolute good, everywhere, absolute good. And we find an affirmation that we can repeat, one that you will ground yourself with to make things happen for you. So when we affirm, we have to release whatever we think is the negative piece, and we replace it with something positive. Denials and affirmations, they have to be rooted in truth. So, you can release your inaccurate thoughts and feelings about something and affirm thoughts and feelings based on the fact that God's desire of you is absolute good, and that the fact that God is in the midst of every situation. When you do this, you change your consciousness. Your consciousness starts setting up good things for you. Sometimes statements of release and affirmations can do their transformational work without you repeating them over and over. Sometimes it's enough to realize them as great conviction, and then merely allowing them to reveal as the truth of a situation. Jesus was simply saying to us when he advised, let what you say be simply yes or no. If something is true, affirm it, accept it. If it is not true, out it goes with a strong and well-placed no. Releasing and affirming like spiritual training wheels. They steady you until you find your divine equilibrium. And we say, for our understanding, thanks be to God. And so it is.
Light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of